Hello and welcome back, everybody, but probably nobody. This is ThorW, and we are back here in Pewter City. Back to our Pokemon Leafgreen playthrough. In our last episode, we went through the Viridian Forest. I went through quite a bit of stuff regarding the Pokemon there, and we caught ourselves a Pikachu to add to our team, which we have temporarily nicknamed Static Shock. We'll see if you guys have a pretty decent nickname to replace it relatively soon, or if I'm going to stick with that for a while. Maybe you guys like that nickname. Anyway, first thing I want to do is I want to come over here into this Pokemon Mart and see what kind of stuff they're selling, because I believe this is where we start getting some new items. Yes, it is. Alright, so in addition to the Paralyze Heal, we have Awakening to awaken sleep, Burn Heal to stop burn, Escape Rope to escape instantly from a cave or a dungeon, and the Godsend itself, Repel, everyone's favorite item! Prevent weak wild Pokemon from appearing for 100 steps. Unfortunately, we're pretty poor, so we can only get one, but we will get that one Repel. Whoops. I said we will get that one Repel. We will not hit B by accident. Nope, totally didn't do that. Anyway, we will take that one Repel because we are coming up on an area where we're going to want to go ahead and have that available to us. Now, there's not a lot going on in Pewter City overall. I mean, we've got this nice little museum over here of natural history or Pokemon history or whatever you want to call it, which I believe somewhere around here actually has a hidden item. There it is! There's a Pokeball hidden here. Yep. And there's not a whole lot to offer in here. You can go in there and look at some fossils and stuff, but the real treat is going to be in that room that we can't get in over there, the building annex on the side. And other than that, there's not a whole lot going on in Pewter City. There's a couple of towns, there's some people just loitering about, talking about CLEFAIRY and Moonstones, you know, they're crazy alien people. And of course we have the gym. Pewter City Pokemon Gym, leader Brock, the rock-solid Pokemon trainer. So we're gonna go in here and there's this glasses dude. Hiya! Do you want to dream big? Do you dare to dream of becoming the Pokemon champ? I'm no trainer, but I can advise you on how to win. Let me take you to the top. No, I don't need your help. It's a free service. Come on, let's get happening. The first Pokemon out in a match is at the left of the Pokemon list. By changing the order of Pokemon, you may gain an advantage. Try different orders to suit your opponent's party. I believe he's going to say the same thing if we say yes, but let's find out. Alright, let's get happening. Yup. This guy just repeats himself as if we didn't just talk to you, sir. Come on now. Winning trainers, Zake. Oh, I see. Our rival's apparently been here. Well, Brock has a pretty sad little gym. No gimmicks, no puzzles, nothing like that. Just one little disciple trainer and himself. And we're gonna fight his little disciple trainer. Stop right there, kid! You're 10,000 light years from too early to face Brock. That's how it was probably originally said. And we find Camper Liam! Shout out to the Super Best Friends channel. Liam has made an appearance. Thank you for the collaboration, Liam. Nice GEODUDE. I'm gonna go ahead and crush Camper Liam's dreams. And Brock's dreams as well, because 2 out of 3 of the starting Pokemon you can start with for your playthrough, those 2 being Bulbasaur and Squirtle, have type advantages over Brock's gym. And even in this generation, even Charmander has a pretty good chance of being able to defeat Brock, because Charmander is able to learn Metal Claw relatively early, which is a Steel-type move, also super effective against Rock types. Every type you're going to face is either rock or ground in this gym, from Liam's GEODUDE and Sandshrew to Brock's 2 Pokemon as well. Light years isn't time, it measures distance! Oh no! I was stupid from the beginning! And now that Liam has been swiftly disposed of, we will move over to the gym leader, Brock, everyone's favorite womanizer. So you're here, I'm Brock, I'm Pewter's gym leader. My drying pan cannot lose to your water-type Pokemon. My rock-hard willpower is evident, even in my Pokemon. My Pokemon are all rock-hard. Phrasing. And have true grit determination. That's right, my Pokemon are all the rock type. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! My Pokemon are terrible! That's the trainer's honor that compels you to challenge me. Fine then, show me your best. Basically what Brock said is his Pokemon team is not good. Anyway, Brock's Pokemon. First off, he has a Geodude, level 12. The attacks available are Tackle and Defense Curl, and I believe it has the ability of Rock Head, which isn't really going to apply to anything that we have, and oh, I'm sorry, it's dead. So yeah, a big problem that Rock-type Pokemon in general have is that they have a very low special attack stat, or I should say special defense stats, so any sort of special attacks do very well here. So, your Grass-type Pokemon, your Water-type Pokemon, if you picked up a Butterfree from the Viridian Forest, that will do very well here as it learns Confusion very early on, and even if you want a physical type, a Mankey, any sort of fighting type moves from that will work very well here as well. His second Pokemon, Onix, level 14, with the attacks Tackle, Bind, Harden, and his signature move, Rock Tomb. Onix actually outsped Leonardo. How nice! So, Water Gun's probably gonna just, yeah, it's just gonna end it. So, and with that, our extremely anticlimactic battle with the Pewter City Gym has come to an end. I took you for granted, and so I lost in horribly painful fashion. As proof of your victory, I confer on you this, the official Pokemon League Boulder Badge. So for beating Brock, we're going to go ahead and get the Boulder Badge, which gives a slight attack boost to our Pokemon during battle. It'll allow us to use Flash outside of battle. Oh, hey, yeah, there you go. And he's also going to go ahead and give us TM39, Rock Tomb, and 1,400 Poké Dollars. Nice. And Leonardo's evolving! Yay! Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 bum, bum. And boo, 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 boo. I did that a little early, but Leono has evolved into War Turtle. Wait, take this with you. That's yeah. TM39 contains Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb, a TM, or Techno Machine, contains a technique for Pokemon. Using a TM teaches the move it contains to a Pokemon. TM is good for only one use in this generation. In future generations, TMs actually become reusable over and over again because so very many people got tired of replaying the game on a second playthrough just to get another Earthquake or another TM for this or another TM for that. Earthquake being probably the leader of the pack in TMs that people would pretty much farm for. So with that, we've gained quite a bit more money to go back to the Pokemart, so we can get some Awakenings or some Paralyze Heals, or what I'm actually going to get, tons of Repels. Bunch of Repels. I want as many Repels as you can give me, so I now have 5 total Repels. That's going to be very helpful. Repels are going to come in handy because I don't necessarily want to fight every Pokemon that comes along. If I fight every Pokemon that comes my way, well, I end up with a War Turtle against the first gym. And, well, that's a little unfair. Hey, nerd. Oh, ThorW.
I'm glad I caught up to you. I'm Professor Oak's aide. I've been asked to deliver this, so here you go. I have to get back inside now. The sun hurts. Here's some running shoes. Press the B button to run, but only where there's room to run, which means you can't run inside. Well, I must be going back to the lab. Bye. I'm so tired.
There's a letter attached. Dear ThorW, here's a pair of running shoes for my beloved challenger. Remember, I'll always cheer for you. Don't ever give up. Thanks, Mom! Now I can run like a jerk. Okay, so Route 3, there's a lot of trainers on Route 3. There's a lot of trainers on Route 3. A ton of trainers. So, I'm actually going to show off the first battle to show the basics of what I'm going to be doing are... Excuse me, you looked at me, didn't you? Yeah, I looked at you. What are you gonna do about it, lass? Oi, lass, what you gonna do about it? Anyway, I'm gonna show the basics of a technique to level up a low-level Pokemon, like Static Shock here, who is level 3. And while Thunder Shock is super effective against a flying type of Pidgey, I don't think Static Shock's level 3 will do too well against the level 9. Pidgey is 3 times Static Shock's level, so he's not going to win. So I'm going to swap him out for Leonardo, and thus Static Shock, just for being in there for a moment, is going to gain some XP from this battle. I'm going to be doing this for a few Pokemon to kind of catch Static Shock up to speed. I honestly could have done it with Brock as well, because he would have been worth a fair bit of experience too, but look at that. We've already gained 1 level for Static Shock. It's not going to matter too much. And because we get to change right before they send out a Pokemon, this is going to be very easy. So, for you boys and girls out there, I'm going to go ahead and either skip ahead or speed up the footage. I'm not exactly sure which one I'd like to do more. I'll come to a decision eventually. And we're going to do that for basically the entirety of Route 3. There's very little going on other than the trainers, so if I speed it up, enjoy the music. If not, I will talk to you guys in a moment. Ciao! And welcome back! About 8 trainers or so later, Leonardo is level 18 and Static Shock is level 10. Over that time, Static Shock learned Thunder Wave and Tail Whip or something like that. That doesn't matter. And of course, Leonardo didn't really learn anything, but he did get more powerful. So, we are back here. We're still on Route 3 because I've yet to go over the Pokemon that you can find in these little patches of grass. There's only 2 patches of grass, but there are a couple of unique Pokemon that we can find. Female NIDORAN and its evolutions Nidorina and Nidoqueen. If you have the female gender of the NIDORAN, then you have the more defensive family on your side in order to make use of. You'll notice that its stats lean slightly towards defense early on with just NIDORAN, but as it levels up into Nidorina and eventually Nidoqueen, it certainly stays pretty balanced, but does get a little bit of favor towards the defensive and special defensive stats over their attack counterparts. The Nidoran family starts off as Poison before becoming a Poison Ground at the final evolution. Nidoran evolves into Nidorina at level 16 and then eventually Nidoqueen with the use of a Moonstone. However, using a Moonstone too early is ill-advised as Nidoqueen herself doesn't learn moves very easily, and you're going to need to train your Nidorina in order to learn some decent attack moves before you'll want to evolve into a Nidoqueen. As for the male side of the family, the male Nidoran is the more offensive family. You'll see that they're going to have the exact same abilities, the exact same typing of poison going into a Poison Ground at its final evolution, and even leveling up at the same levels. The difference being, once again, that the stats are going to be a little bit more offensive for the male family of Nidoran. You'll notice that even throughout these evolutionary states of Nidoran into Nidorino into Nidoking, you will see that, again, just like with Nidoqueen, the stats are relatively even across the board. There's a very nice spread, but with just a little bit more preference in the attack and special attack, and even the speed in this side, instead of the defense, the special defense, and the HP. Whichever evolutionary side of Nidoran you'd rather have, whether you want the male side or the female side, is perfectly up to you, The moves they learn are pretty similar on both sides, and really it's a matter of preference of whether you want a slightly bulkier Pokemon on your team or a more offensive damage dealer. Either way, not a bad Pokemon, could be worse. The next Pokemon that we can find here is the Jigglypuff evolutionary form. Now, Jigglypuff herself is the one that we can find. It leans a little bit more towards a female side. Jigglypuff in this generation is normal typing. She has not gained her fairy typing yet. And this is also right after they added, in Generation 2, I believe, they added baby Pokemon. So Jigglypuff actually has a pre-evolution that you can have through breeding it in the Pokemon daycare, if you want one of those. As for stats and abilities, Cute Charm is basically, it's your 30% chance to, this one will inflict a track to them if contact is made with this Pokemon. And nothing really special about their stats other than the very overwhelming amount of health that you're going to get through your Jigglypuff evolution. You'll notice that Igglybuff evolves via Friendship, and Jigglypuff evolves into Wigglytuff via Moonstone. You'll see that this is the third Pokemon typing in a very short period of time that can evolve via Moonstone, and that is because we're going to be heading to Mount Moon very soon and getting Moonstones available to us. The one very, very good thing about the Jigglypuff evolutionary chain and Wigglytuff herself is that her HP pool is insanely high. 140 as a base stat is incredible. That is one of the highest base stats of any Pokemon in the game, and her HP pool will be insane. Tack onto that an okay attack and an okay special attack, and Wigglytuff isn't the worst Pokemon in the world. There are definitely better out there, but Wigglytuff will not let you down with its ability to absorb tons and tons of punishment before eventually being taken down. So if you want to use this on your team, not a bad choice at all, and certainly a decent use for your Moonstone. And with that, I'm pretty much done with Route 3. Moving on, we're going to head right up here north, and we'll hit Route 4. And wouldn't you know it, right off the bat into hitting Route 4, we get some guy over here that's like, Brock's so cool, he's so tough, I want to be a gym leader just like him. Hey, yo, I beat Brock with one Pokemon. How's it feel? How's it feel to know that your leader was a nerd? Your leader was a nerd, a weakling. I don't think any of these actually have anything, do they? They might. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and hit this Pokemon Center real quick. And heal our Pokemon back to health. Boop, 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 boop. And I'm actually going to keep that NIDORAN in my party for the time being. As I said before, you are able to trade it for its gender counterpart on Route 5, which I fully intend to do. Now, wasn't there a guy here that tried to sell you a Magikarp? Maybe it's on the other side of it. Ah, here we go. Hello there, laddie. I got a deal just for you. I'll let you have a secret Pokemon, a Magikarp, for just 500 Poké-Dollars. So you'll buy it, am I right? Now this guy's a rip-off artist. He's a con artist. He wants to sell me a Magikarp. A Magikarp, 500 Poké-Dollars. I'm gonna say no. No? You say no? I'm only doing this as a favor to you. Well, he's a liar. He's not doing this as a favor to anyone but himself. Truth of the matter is, Magikarp is not worth 500 Poké-Dollars. Magikarp itself, very weak. I would like to go over Magikarp, like right now, actually. Magikarp, as a Pokemon, is itself weak. Pretty much the weakest of Pokemon that you can possibly get throughout the early stages of the game. It can only learn Splash up until level 15, and Splash does absolutely nothing. It's pure water type, and its stats are horrible. However, at level 20, it evolves into Gyarados, which is a pretty strong Pokemon overall. It gains a much beefier attack stat. It does become part flying for some reason, and unfortunately gains a quad weakness to electric types. But other than that, Gyarados is very strong and a pretty good choice for your team. If you want to pick up that early Magikarp, you might want to spend the 500 Poké just for the Gyarados, but it's going to be pretty difficult to raise it to level 20 at this stage, so you could even wait off a little bit until you get the means to capture a Magikarp easily. Now, we have entered Mount Moon in the meantime. And in Mount Moon, we have entered basically our first cave. So, being in a cave, it means that we have some Pokemon to go over, and we just grabbed TM9 Burit Seed. So, now that we are here in Mount Moon, let's go over the Pokemon that we can find in here. First off with everyone's favorite annoyance, Zubat. Zubat and its family is a very common cave-dwelling Pokemon, a poison flying type throughout the entirety of its evolution, with the ability Inner Focus, which prevents it from flinching. Now, Zubat itself is a very weak Pokemon, sporting such amazing attacks as Leech Life, with its entire 20 damage output, and it's bug typing, making sure that Zubat can't even take advantage of same type attack bonus. Zubat is very hard to raise early on. However, as long as you raise it up, once it evolves into Golbat, it gains a fairly decent set of stats. It's pretty well-rounded across the board, with a slight propensity towards a high speed. Now, the most fortunate part of this evolutionary family is the fact that in Generation 2, CROBAT was added to the Pokédex. In evolution to Golbat through the bonds of friendship. And to get a friendship evolution, that means you have to have the Pokemon in your party often, you have to make sure it doesn't faint very much, you have to cure status effects and heal it, and then your friendship level rises as an invisible stat, until eventually Golbat will evolve into CROBAT. Now, CROBAT itself is a Pokemon very much worthwhile. It has an incredibly high speed stat. It's going to outspeed many, if not every Pokemon that you're going to find out in the wild, especially throughout this generation, and a pretty decent attack stat as well to take advantage of. CROBAT is a pretty valuable addition to your team, so if you're willing to raise Zubat throughout its very weak early on stages until it gets to Golbat, it will become pretty darn useful, especially once it evolves into CROBAT, and I highly recommend this Pokemon for anyone that wants a decent flying type on their team. Up next, we have our first Rock-type Pokemon available to us, GEODUDE, and his family of evolutions. GEODUDE himself is a Rock and Ground type with the abilities Rockhead or Sturdy. Rockhead prevents any recoil damage from almost every move. Some outliers such as Struggle do exist, and Sturdy prevents fainting from any one-hit knockout move. So any move that would one-shot a GEODUDE with Sturdy would leave him with at least 1 HP at the end of the damage calculation. Now, GEODUDE's stats, he has a very whoppingly high defense stat and a pretty good attack stat to take advantage of throughout the entirety of its evolutionary phases. However, GEODUDE himself, very low special stats for attack and defense, and incredibly low speed, means that any Pokemon that has a type advantage against him is going to have a pretty easy time dealing with this GEODUDE just by going through the special defense stats that he has, which is one of the biggest issues with this family. Now, when GEODUDE evolves at level 25 into Graveler, it gains a slight increase to those stats all around the board, and becomes just slightly more sturdy, slightly bulkier, and it doesn't really gain much for itself. However, once you are able to evolve it into Golem, then it actually becomes a pretty good contender for a team slot. Golem itself can only be gotten through a trade evolution. This means that you must trade Graveler to another trainer, and then kind of have him trade that Graveler back to you, which will become a Golem once you've traded it. So this is actually our first example of a trade evolution. So this is one of a few Pokemon that we're going to find that have to be traded in order to reach their final form. The problem with this kind of Pokemon is that if you don't have a friend to trade with, you're stuck with a Graveler at best, and Graveler is unfortunately not the most amazing Pokemon in the world. And once it evolves into Golem, it certainly becomes a much more desirable Pokemon, and especially harder to take down because of its increase in special defense and HP. So, Golem, not a very bad choice for your team. The biggest issues that I have to point out for any rock-type Pokemon that you get is that by Generation 3, there are very few good rock-type moves available to your Pokemon. So it's very difficult to take advantage of this typing and get same-type attack bonus with good attacks. So if you guys do want a rock-type Pokemon, Golem's a pretty darn good choice as long as you have someone to trade with. The issues are that special defense is very low, so anything that's super effective against it is going to take it down easy, and because of its dual typing of rock and ground, it has quad weakness to several different types. So it is very counterable, so be on your guard with what Pokemon that you send this out against. It can be a strong powerhouse, or if you send it in the wrong matchup, it can be taken down very easily. Next, we have a unique Pokemon to Mount Moon. I don't believe you can find this Pokemon in the wild anywhere else. We have CLEFAIRY. CLEFAIRY is a normal-type Pokemon. It does not gain its fairy typing until later generations. A slight propensity towards being female over male, with the ability Cute Charm, which is a 30% chance to inflict attract to any opponent that makes contact with this Pokemon. CLEFAIRY, much like Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff, is a little bit more geared towards the defensive side with a pretty decent HP pool and decent special defense. It's a little bit more well-rounded than the Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff, the Jigglypuff family, with the fact that it has a little bit higher stats of attack and defense, but unfortunately its speed stat and everything else is pretty low. CLEFAIRY is one of those Pokemon that gained a baby pre-evolution in Gen 2, so CLEFFA is something that you can breed to if any of you wish to have a CLEFFA to add to your Pokedex. Of course, it does have lower stats, so using a CLEFFA itself would only be for appearances. CLEFFA evolves into CLEFAIRY through friendship, and then a Moonstone will evolve CLEFAIRY into a Clefable, and Clefable itself gains a very large boost in stats all around from the Clefairy evolution right before it. It has a pretty meaty HP stat with a pretty decent special defense stat, to take advantage of making it kind of a wall. Clefable is pretty darn good at sending out against any sort of special attackers to just tank some damage and inflict and pretty much fight a war of attrition with them, because Clefable can take quite a few hits due to its stats. It has a decent special attack stat in order to take advantage of some of its moves, so it's an okay Pokemon. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it, but if you guys want something that's pretty cute to use on your team, Clefable's not a bad choice at all. Alright, and the final Pokemon family that we can find in Mount Moon is the Paris family. Paris is a bug and grass type Pokemon with the ability Effect Spore, which is 30% chance to inflict poison, paralysis, or sleep to an opponent when they make contact. Paris itself is pretty weak overall. It actually has an impressive attack score, much higher than I personally ever thought it had, but the stats the stats it has elsewhere are pretty darn low. Very low HP, very slow speed stat, and pretty middle of the ground to low defense, special attack, and special defense. When it evolves into Parasect, though, it gains a pretty good boost all around to these stats. Now, Parasect itself isn't very good, to be honest. It does gain an okay attack stat, but it doesn't get the most moves in the world to take advantage of it. It's still very slow, and because it's bug and grass, it has quad weakness to several typings, some of them a little common to find out in the world, and it doesn't have as many strengths as you wish it would have from a dual typing. One very interesting thing I want to point out from Paris and Parasect is that the Pokedex entry for these guys is creepy as heck. Okay, so a fun fact about Leafgreen is it keeps all of the original Gen 1 Pokedex entries. So the Pokedex entry for Paris on Leafgreen is burrows to suck tree roots. The mushrooms on its back grow by draining nutrients from the bug host. And then the Parasect entry is a host-parasite pair in which the parasite mushroom has taken over the host bug. Prefers damp places. So essentially, what this is saying is that Paris isn't actually the bug that you see. Paris is being controlled by the mushroom that grows larger and larger on its back, to the point where Parasect, its evolution, is basically just the subconscious of the mushroom parasite that has infected the bug's body and is controlling it like a zombie. That's freaking creepy. I love it. Pokemon has some really cool... That's almost like real-world animal creepy stuff, and it's so cool. So Paris and Parasect, not great Pokemon stat-wise, pretty darn cool Pokemon on the creep factor. And thus, our first Rocket Grunt has been dealt with harshly. Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3-zy, lemon squeezy, etc., etc. Good day to you, sir, you have lost! Yes, I am good. I am rather good. Goodbye. And I wanted to come down here because there is a TM46 here, a Thief, and I really wanted that. Thief is actually a very interesting move that will steal a held item if your opponent's Pokemon is holding one, which is pretty useful against certain trainers especially. So, I'll see you guys after this battle. Welcome back, guys! We've beaten youngster Josh, and our Repel's effect wore off. Nice. Perfect. From one battle to the next. Woo! The ride never ends, baby! Alright, Hiker Marcos has been defeated. And before we go down that ladder there, we're going to go ahead and grab this Pokeball up here, which, once I run away from this battle at least, we're going to go ahead and grab the Pokeball right over here because inside contains a Moonstone. Very useful for having, especially if you have something along the lines of a Clefairy or a NIDORAN that you'd like to evolve into its final form. So don't forget to pick that up on your way through Mount Moon, guys. And now we're in the B2F of Mount Moon, the basement second floor or whatever. There's a revive that'll revive your Pokemon from the faint status, and we've been living off of Repel for too long. I don't want to face a bunch of wild Pokemon again. If we come down here, we see there's more Rocket Grunts to deal with, so let's go ahead and throw Static Shock into the front of the party. And he's a little low on health, so we're gonna pull a potion out, throw it onto Static Shock, and heal him up to 30 health so that we're ready to go, we're ready to rock, we're ready to rumble. Give me what you got. Little kids shouldn't be messing around with grown-ups. It could be bad news. Yeah, you're right, it could be bad news. For the adult who doesn't have any clue how to Pokebottle, jeez. Learn how to train your Pokemon before you start, yelling at other people to leave you alone. Anyway, we're going to follow this very long, winding path into yet another Rocket Grunt. Into our Repel's effects wearing off. We, Team Rocket, shall find the fossils. Reviving Pokemon from them will earn us huge riches. Fossils? What? Who are you? What are you talking? I'm just a kid. I don't know what you're talking about. You're the ones instigating this battle. Like, all I wanted to do was go through Mount Moon and head out the other side. But no, that's too much for you. I mean, all I wanted to do was go to Cerulean City, but now I have to deal with running away from a random battle, and then I have to deal with all you stupid Rocket Grunts who keep getting in my... Hey, stop!
I found these fossils. They're mine.
Well, alright, so this is the main guy who's controlling all these Rocket Grunts, Super Nerd Miguel. And he's been the one that's pretty much been slowing down our progress, messing with us, etc., etc. So we're gonna have to punish him for being a very bad boy and send him crying home to mommy. Or at least I think he's the one controlling the Rocket Grunts. It really seems like it. All I know is that the Rocket Grunts are here. Super Nerd Miguel wants the fossils. The Rocket Grunts want the fossils. You put 2 and 2 together and it seems like they're working hand in hand. There, are you happy now, Miguel? Are you happy? Your Pokemon are dead. Dead and ready to be buried because of you. All you had to do was let me have the fossils.
Okay, I'll share.
No, there's no sharing. There's no sharing anymore. You have no Pokemon to protect yourself.
We'll each take a fossil. No being greedy.
Even though you were about to be greedy? Okay. Okay, so we have the choices of the Helix fossil or the Dome fossil. The Helix fossil, when taken, will turn into an Ammonite. Ammonite, based off of the real-life extinct mollusks Ammonites, is a rock and water type Pokemon with abilities Shell Armor or Swift Swim. Ammonite itself has some pretty decent stats, a big meaty defense stat from its rock typing, and a pretty decent special attack stat to make use of. The unfortunate part of this Pokemon is that it evolves pretty late in life at level 40, but once it does, it becomes a powerhouse with Omastar, where its defense gets boosted even further, its special attack goes even higher, and the rest of its stats help compensate for some of the weaknesses it might have, such as the quad weakness that it has garnered from its typing to Grass type. However, its typing is pretty good against most other types of Pokemon, so Omastar is a very valid choice for your team if you want a rock or water type. Our other choice, if we take the Dome fossil, will give us a Kabuto, based off of the real-life Horseshoe Crab. Kabuto, also a rock and water type Pokemon with abilities Battle Armor or Swift Swim. Kabuto, much like Ammonite, doesn't evolve until level 40, but it is the attack stat counterpart. And once it evolves into a Kabutops, it gains a pretty darn girthy attack stat for itself and a nice high speed stat to make use of it. So if you want the attack stat form, go with Kabutops. If you want the special attack form, go for Omastar, but both are very valid choices if you want one of these Pokemon. Now, between the two of them, I believe that the Helix fossil shall be the one that we take. All hail Lord Helix! And not only because of Twitch Plays Pokemon, but also because Omanyte and Omastar as evolutions are a little bit better. They gain better attacks than their opponents. Man, it's been a long journey through Mount Moon. It's been a really long journey through Mount Moon. And I want to put Leonardo in the front of the party because Static Shock has taken a little bit of a beating. I was actually going to head backwards for some reason because I lost my mind for a second, but then I remembered, oh wait, I need to go this way. I'm dumb sometimes, and finally the light of day is seen. We've made our way out of Mount Moon. Whew, that was an ordeal, a long one. Let's go ahead and save our game in a safe spot so that we can continue later. That's going to be the end of the episode. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Pokemon Leafgreen. We've made our way through Mount Moon and we've beaten Brock. In our next episode, we'll be heading towards Cerulean City and working on our second gym badge. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye!